Hey, welcome everybody. It is another Saturday morning and Saturday Morning Live. And yes, I stole from Saturday Night Live when I was a teenager in the military watching Saturday Night Live. And so we're taking off on that. But this is Saturday Morning Live. So welcome everybody. Brian and Ann, welcome. Thank you for being here. I just want you guys to know my Facebook feed on my other monitor just went completely black. So I hope we're broadcasting and the electrons are connected and all of that. Does it look good on
I
your end?
see that. I see that you're live. I've got my phone, and
Oh,
there it is.
sweet, sweet, sweet.
Yep.
Well, hey everybody, this is going public, so you might not know. This is Ann Sieg, the founder and CEO of the E-commerce Business School. This is Brian Cummings, our executive director of coaching and training. And this is, let me frame up the slides now, Saturday Morning Live. There's our logo and all of that. The first thing we always do here on Saturday Morning Live is welcome our new members. So, hey, we are really glad that you're here. This is a community, a mentoring results driven community with lots of training and lots of coaching, lots of interaction. So if you're just getting to know us, we're looking forward to getting to know you. Hey, here's what we're going to be covering today. Part one, Brian and Ann are going to be doing some training on getting unstuck, creative problem solving, eliminating mental blocks, thinking like a business owner. Ann's going to share some leadership keys, and then Brian's going to share some keys on what our top students did to break away from the pack, carve out a lifestyle of their dreams, and soar to new heights. Brian's going to share some scaling tips, and then there will be a clear demarcation. If you want to stick around and find out about what we're going to be doing in Colorado this summer, you can do that also. So before I ask Ann some questions and she goes into her training, I want to give Brian a chance to say good morning and hi to everybody and you and where you're at and all that kind of stuff. Brian, just say hello.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is from sunny Northern California. I'm hoping the rest of you have really nice weather because we sure do here.
Awesome. Yeah. It's pretty nice from southern Florida, too. I don't get bored of 80 and sunshine every day. So, and Ann, where are you?
Oh, wait a minute.
Where are you
I
dialing in
am up
from?
in, well, I'm up in Minnesota with family. I'm at my sister's place, and we've got family stuff going on. So I'm here for probably a total of 3 weeks. And it's not warm. I take that back. Today's supposed to hit 71. So Nana and a boo boo.
71. Brr.
It was 36 degrees yesterday morning, but I hear today it will get to 71. So pretty exciting. So yeah, I'm here with family, hunkered down for a few weeks.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Colorado has those variations of temperatures too. We'll be talking about Colorado, where it's just beautiful during the day up at 7,000 feet, and then it can get really, really cold at night. I remember that from my Air Force Academy days too. So, and one of the things that you're going to be sharing in Colorado, you wanted to share this with everybody here today, was the 21 keys to leadership success, and you're going to cover 4 of those keys. And so I got some slides here, and it shows you teaching in Colorado as you share some of those keys. So if you want to introduce that, and then I'll flip on over to key 1 as you get going here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Well, the reason we focus on leadership and we put an especially big focus on that inside our e-commerce master's program, a subset of EMP is our TLC, trainers, leaders, and coaches platform. So that's within EMP. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes as well. But that is because this is a leadership development platform. Number one is to help develop you as the CEO of your own business. I like to say, so goes the CEO, so goes the business. That's the biggest differentiator between everybody here who is watching is the leadership capabilities that you have within inside you. And the good news is once you start to identify what those key components are, then it creates a focus for you to hone in on what you need to develop to become a better leader, to lead yourself. Sometimes people want to evolve and grow their business such that they have a team that supports their e-commerce business. All the more you need to be a leader to yourself if you expect to lead others. And so this is why today in particular, because we've got a big event coming up in Colorado, it's Estes Park. You're going to hear more about that in a few moments. We're going to spend some time talking about the leadership aspects that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and just overall a successful in life. These same attributes hold true. So I'm going to dive into those, not all 21. That might take, 45 minutes or so. I'm actually going to go into that while in Colorado, as well as some other leadership training. So we're going to go on to the next slide there, Coach Kurt. It's one of my favorites. And as I detail these out, you can think for yourself, rate yourself, if you will, on a scale of 1 to 10, how you think you rate relative to these 4 keys. Again, there's 21. I'll train on that in Colorado, but for this morning, we'll do the first 4. And number 1, I like, probably is my favorite, is be an initiator.
I'm a 10. I'm a 10. I'm a 10.
Yeah, Kurt gets a 10. Brian, remember at the one event where when we were holding up these scorecards, it was you, Josie, Kathleen, I can't remember who the 4th person was, but we were, it was some kind of an award thing. We like to do contests here, by the way, and we have one going on, which is the Race to Minnesota Challenge for our upcoming trifecta in July. So anyways, an initiator. Okay, so most people, in truth, in fact, are actually followers, and there's really nothing wrong with that. It's just being mindful and careful of who you are following. But most of us follow. I continue to follow. We all follow someone. We're following maybe a particular technique that we're wanting to learn. We follow that person. So we all pretty much end up being followers, but not everybody ends up being an initiator. In fact, most of us are wired that we won't actually get going until we see a big enough crowd of people doing it, that it creates a sense of safety. Oh, well, now that the crowd is doing it, well, now I'll do it, because that creates a sense of safety, or at least we think it's a sense of safety. The fact that we see a whole bunch of other people doing it, good, they kind of cut the path for me. Now I can jump in behind them. I've observed this as a marketer, for example, at a store. When you see a gaggle of girls and they're gathered around an item, let's say it's at a clothing store, and there's like 4 or 5 of them, and they're oohing and they're eyeing, I guarantee you all the other women, it is just killing them to go over and look at what these 4 or 5 gals are oohing and eyeing about. Coach Kurt, you have 4 daughters, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You know what? I learned something, Ann, already from you. I learned something from you every day. Did you catch that, guys? A gaggle is 4 or 5. She said a gaggle of girls, and she said 4. Now I know. I never knew that. Thank you.
No, a gaggle.
A gaggle.
A gaggle.
A gaggle.
And I think it actually refers to geese, but I think they can be one and the same. I'm sorry, girls. All righty. I've taught marketing to women, so I know that space pretty dang well. So anyways, so yeah, you are a follower first, and there you want to make sure that you're following a leader. So there's like the strategies, that's one aspect of leadership, but I'm talking about the person that you are becoming. That's what real leadership is about, is we're all always in a process of evolving or devolving, but it's who you're following, so that by default, you will become more like that person as you emulate them. That's where this noting what the leadership qualities are, because it kind of happens whether we realize it or not. Okay, so become a doer and not a bystander. You know, I see it in our groups. There's people who are just kind of peering in and watching when they could be doing. I think of Debbie Kane. I know she's here. I saw already. She's definitely a doer in spades. True or true, guys?
True.
Yeah, she is a doer. So most people, they hesitate and they wait until they're told what to do. And that's okay. It's just at least knowing, okay, that's me. So that's where our boot camp comes in place, is Kurt will hold you accountable, and he will make sure, he will kick your butt and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do, because unfortunately, a lot of people just aren't able to hold themselves to that. But you want to be able to move towards that, which is called self-coaching and self-motivated. So be willing to grab the bull by the horns and run with something. And it can be almost anything, where you do it for the sake of testing your resolve, and not so much for the end result, but for the process of your learning that you can do something of your own volition. So the more you become accustomed to the doing, the less fearful you become, and the better you can predict future outcomes when you become that doer person instead of sitting by the sidelines. So when I tried this is what happened. That's what we want to see with someone who is an initiator. So Coach Kurt, if you want to move to the next slide.
Key number 2, accept full responsibility for your decisions.
Okay, and I'm
Got
flying
it.
a little bit blind on my end, so just hang tight with me. There it is. Oh, this is another one of my favorites. Yes. And this too, we see this mindset or behavior uh, demonstrated in our groups, which is, you should be watching that yourself of other people's behavior. But of course, most importantly, is your own behavior. And that is taking responsibility for your decisions. And that is running counterculture at this point, where the culture is saying, no, you blame everybody else. No, as an entrepreneur, that line of thinking will never, ever work. As an entrepreneur, you have to own it. You have to bootstrap. You have to say, if it is to be, it's up to me, period. And I mean every decision, every course that you choose to take, every event you choose to attend, every leader you choose to follow, everything that you do, you have to own that and not then turn around and blame it and say, well, so-and-so told me. No, 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 no. We're done with those days. You're going to put those in the back seat. And this is the grown-up world. And that's what's required in entrepreneurship, is it's the grown-up space. So what I like to say is fail fast and move on. So if you find that something hasn't materialized for you the way you thought it would, just own up to it. It's all good. We had that happen in real estate. Put in a lot of money and effort. We ended up losing money. I told my husband, I got 5 minutes. Give me the deal, and then I'm moving on. So he told me what we lost, and then boom, I'm moving on. I reflect on what I learned from the experience, but I am moving onward. I can't go wallow in the past and the challenges and the things that happen. I have to move ahead. So we're going to move on to key number 3, which was one of my favorites. It's actually from a very well-known copywriter. His name is John Carlton. And it's probably one of my favorite quotes of all time. We are paid to be the adult in the room. Somebody has to be the grown-up. Crises happen, things happen, challenges happen, and a lot of people can go into an emotional state for which they, think they have no control. It's because they haven't learned to master over their emotions. And this is when leadership really needs to step in and be in place when things seem to call it imploding around you. There's challenges and struggles, which, by the way, I always like to tell people, in your business plan, you should write down 2 things. Things will change. That's one. You can do that right now. Write that in your business plan. Things will change. And the other thing is, you will, 100% guaranteed, you will hit challenges along the way. I'm giving you that a strong heads up as an entrepreneur. And if you're like, no, I'm in nursery mode. No, I can't accept a single challenge. No, challenges are meant to strengthen you, to sharpen you, and make you better than what you already are. So instead, you embrace those challenges and you kick them to the curb. And I know it's difficult. Coach Kurt knows. That's who I typically talk to when any of my bigger challenges arise. I talk to Coach Kurt. And that is where it's so important to have a mentor and to have a group, a community of people who can support you. It's guaranteed it is going to happen. You're going to hit the bumps along the way. So again, we are paid to be the adult in the room, and people can feel it. They sense it. They know there's a grown-up there who's got their head square and straight and isn't losing their cool. Okay. All right. We're going to move on to, I just want to watch the clock here. I don't want to take up Brian's time here. So we're on the last key, number 4. There's a total of 21 that I'll be covering out in Colorado, as well as some other leadership training. Okay. So key number 4. It's another one of my favorites. The spiritual nature of business. Create a business that makes a difference. So people call this an impact business. And we're all in the e-commerce space here. And so you're wondering, gosh, me shipping products through stores, how does that create an impact business? Well, it does. It does within your own family economy. It does as you serve people who are buying through Amazon, and you're servicing store owners. And that is all based around relationships. And there is a spiritual nature of relationships. So mine is more people-based, my product, if you will. It's people. I'm developing people. All the more why we have our Ultimate Business Lifestyle Retreat, which is coming up in Estes Park, Colorado, is I talked to my team here. This is about 3 years ago. And I said, I want an event that is solely focused on the person. So goes the CEO. So goes the business. Let's feed in. Let's nurture that CEO. Because our mission here is much, much bigger than, yes, building an amazing business. It's what you do with your business. And as polled through our members, at the very top of the list, and this is I don't know if it's my audience is just unique or what. The very top of the list is they want to be able to give to their favorite charities and foundations. Remarkably so, even above family. This is just strictly from the stats. Bottom of the list is they want a fast car and a big house. Very, very bottom of the list, as people are surveyed on why they're doing what they're doing. And that tells me that we have people in our community who primarily want to have an impact business. They do want to impact their family economy, just like Brian when he bootstrapped himself out of when his business went under through a law that was rolled out in the state of California. And likewise for my husband and I, in the state of Minnesota, a law came out and put us underneath back with our automotive business. And so having an impact business, what it does is it really pulls on more of who you are and what you want to be and what you want to give back to the world. So again, the rest of those keys we'll be covering in Estes Park, Colorado. So I am going to pass it over to you, Coach Kurt.
All right. Well, those are awesome. Looking forward to the rest of it. And I do have pictures of you in Colorado. Here's you and I by the campfire, and you and Kathleen by the campfire, and then the conference room inside. Yeah, just great stuff. I do apologize. I'm not able to read your comments. Those that are listening right now, welcome. I'm sure there's probably at least one of our staff there tracking with things and so on and so forth. And so I'm going to go ahead and just keep on moving to the next slide where Brian's going to share a little bit about scale, and there's a picture of he and Sarah. That was that beautiful background that we got to listen to outside as you and Brian and others would teach and train, and we'd interface, do stuff in Colorado. So anyway, Brian, you're going to talk a little bit more about scale today.
That's right. You know, if you were able to attend last Saturday morning live, I spoke a little bit about scale then and in the past Wednesday, and I want to focus in on camaraderie. So let's go to the next slide. If you're on that, we have these 5 acronyms: systems, camaraderie, accountability, leverage, and empowerment. And camaraderie is the one that I want to focus on today. So why don't we move forward? I think it'll take you to...
While that's moving forward, I'll just wow, I'm really proud of myself. I found the commenters. So I want to just say hi. Good morning to Susan. Good morning to Chris. Hey there, Chris. Roxanne, Debbie Kane in the house. Greg Johnson here. Susan, Debbie, Rill. Hi, Rill. Good morning to you. Okay, and I don't think I have access to all 27. But anyways, people are here. Thank you. Back over to you, Brian.
All right. Brian, I'm on
Debbie.
I'm on slide 17 with the definition now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
17? Okay. All right. We all have different slide decks, I think, open with different numbers here. So I wanted to mention Debbie Kane. She was commenting as you were talking. I can see everybody's comments. And she says it takes a village. And it's so true. That's what happens with camaraderie. There's this coming together in mutual trust and friendship with camaraderie. So when I think about camaraderie in the general sense, I think about what's happened in sports teams and civic clubs. And I was a member of an a cappella singing group. And there was 8 of us, and we sang together for 2 years. And I got to tell you, we became very tight. It wasn't just the singing, it was the friendship and support that we had for each other. And we got to know each other on such a level that we understood each other's needs. And so there's these 4 points that I have here about not going it alone. When you are in business, and this is how I define camaraderie for business, I call it a profitable partnership with others having similar interests. And so not going alone, well, you need somebody that you can bounce your ideas off of, somebody that you can talk to and say, you know, I've had this thought. Do you think it might be a good way for me to go? You need that type of critical feedback from others. And critical feedback, well, you need to be able to discuss the problems in your business too, and the challenges, and get some support here. Am I doing it right? When we are operating alone, we're in a vacuum, and it feels that way. We feel like, am I making the right decision? Am I making the right choices? Should I be doing things differently? And having that camaraderie in business can really help you. It's also important to have somebody that can tell you the truth, because we often get out and we think we're doing it right. Okay, we're going full blast this direction. And we sometimes need somebody to say, hey, wait a second, look around. take a look at the bigger picture, because there's an opportunity over here that you are flat out missing. When I first sold on Amazon, I heard about FBA, Fulfilled by Amazon, where you send all your products into the Amazon warehouse. And to me, that sounded like a huge commitment. And I looked at their fees and I thought, this is going to be expensive. I don't want to do this. So I was selling books, shipping all those books to customers as the orders would come in. And I did have a friend that I met, another bookseller in Sacramento. I know Rill is with us. She's in Sacramento. His name is Larry. If you ever run into him, really, he's a really nice guy. And he said, Brian, you know, you got to look at FBA. I know we talked about it earlier and you said it was too expensive. You're not seeing the truth of it. You're not going to realize how many more sales you're going to get by selling through FBA and how much more profit you're going to make. And he was really absolutely right. He set me straight. He told me the truth. So then there's accountability. And that's the other piece too. You know, we can hold ourselves accountable. And I do a pretty good job at that. But there's just times like with Larry telling me about FBA that I'm not seeing it. There's times that I'm not seeing something else. Let's just call it, I'm in denial. I think I'm doing it right. And I think that maybe my shortcut is working the right way. And somebody else is saying, Brian, you're just not following through on this. That shortcut is not cutting it. So you need somebody there that can hold you accountable. So my tip for this is if you don't have an accountability partner, you don't have somebody that knows you and knows you in your business life, to join a peer or a mastermind group. We have that in the e-commerce masters program. You need to learn more about that. Join a peer or mastermind group. That's what's going to help you. And we're going to talk about a couple of other relationships here. These are people that are in peer and mastermind groups. So next slide. You have Dr. Josie Shepard.
Yes.
And myself up. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Josie and I met before we were in the e-commerce masters group or into the e-commerce business school. In fact, Josie's the one who introduced me to the e-commerce business school. We met in 2013 and we were both going it alone, looking for support, looking for that collaboration, that camaraderie in business. And we struck up a friendship, a partnership in many ways. We've become partners in training. In fact, I was looking back on the trainings and the workshops that we've created. Josie and I have created eight different training programs for the e-commerce business school. We know each other very, very well. We've spent time at each other's homes. There was a weekend in which my wife, Terry, and I drove up to Josie and her husband's Jeff's home in Oregon. And we mapped out for 2 days, we mapped out a whole business plan for print on demand. And so we spent that 2 days in one room with those great big, huge Post-it notes that, you put on the wall, those giant stick on the wall notes. And we had notes on every single wall all the way around the room for different components of this business. And we were brainstorming like that. It's fun to do that too. What can I say? I mean, and you get to see Josie and I from a different viewpoint as the owner of this company.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add, I know you have mentioned how, I think it was at our recent e-commerce masters intensive workshop in Sacramento, Josie started to say something and you immediately knew what she was going to say next. She didn't even have to complete the sentence, right? You're relating that to us?
Yes.
And that's where you almost become, I call it two cerebrums. And so Coach Kurt here, this good partnership, that's me and Coach Kurt. We've been working together 15 years. So it's kind of that thing. No, I know where you're going. Knowing each other so well that the thought is closed already or completed by the other person. It's pretty cool.
Let's go on to Kay Curtis and Sarah Sotis.
Yeah, I would. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say they're both certified trainers in the e-commerce business school. What would you like to say about them, Ann?
Well, it was really awesome to see their friendship develop, which basically it began by coming to it was our e-commerce business summit. It wasn't called that at that time, but fall of 2015, they had started Shop Your Way to Wealth. Both were very successful by that time within about 2-3 months. And then it was what I thought it was, that event was the complete catalyst, but no, it was when they came into e-commerce master's program and they were in the same mastermind group and they just clicked. It was kind of like that whole thing, opposites attract, or, the complementing of each other, that one has strengths that the other doesn't. And so they became business partners, and it has been just such a delight to see them work together, first in the JV capacity, joint venture, but now they have literally merged their companies together. And it's been a 4-year process, all, the e-commerce business school being the catalyst, the platform to help that happen for them. That's pretty cool.
They do have very different personalities, very different backgrounds. Obviously, you can look at it and see there's huge differences just looking at the two of them. But they have a very strong shared sense of purpose and a very strong vision that they share together. And, there's something else about the way their minds work. We were training at the 3-day sourcing workshop in San Diego. So this is a couple of years ago. They were both there. They're both sitting in the very front of the room, front row.
Yes.
And then in the break, they're pestering me, say, Brian, you taught in this other workshop, and here there's talking about some other piece of training. And we were looking at that. We want to know why you did that. We think we found a better way to do it. They're amazing together.
Totally
Okay.
agree.
How about Candida?
Yeah, Brian, just recently you were talking about Candida leads one of our very effective mastermind groups, and that leadership. I'd like you to address just in a peer group, Candida, I tease her on the side. I call her Captain Candida. She has such powerful leadership skills, but yet she's an equal. So it's kind of leadership among equals in that peer relationship. And what's coming out of that group you were sharing with me the other day is just amazing.
Something about Candida, it's in her heart, and this is where it shows up in the group. She has been through these same challenges. So it's a peer group, right? They're all members working on the same thing. They're all working on their business. They're going through some of the same challenges and struggles. Candida's already been through those challenges and struggles. She's a doer, and so she hits those things first, an initiator, as Ann said. And then in her heart, she wants to save the other members from struggling, the same struggle. I mean, she's already been through it, figured it out, and then she shares that and demonstrates that. And she shows it over and over and over again. And so she has the trademark of a natural mentor.
100% agreed. Incredibly strong leadership. What's coming out of that group is absolutely stunning. This group was formed back in January, and now they are all co-leading and co-training amongst each other, creating this kind of flywheel experience of just hyper growth, hyper knowledge, hyper mentorship within this tight mentorship group, which this is all part of the e-commerce master's program, specifically the TLC program, which Candida helps to lead the trainers, leaders, and coaches program with us. So she's been doing a phenomenal job.
Okay, Sharon Safford and Christy Dugan. Now they've come together to create a business called Personalize Your Party. It's brand new, and this is a formal business. I mean, they've gone through the paperwork and all of that. Their qualities, they're both nuts and bolts kind of people. They have this deep understanding of all the pieces, and they're both very procedural. So when I think about them, I see in both of them a determined persistence to work through every step and to understand and put that foundation in place. And they make excellent partners because of that.
Yeah, they also are part of the e-commerce master's program. Both of them incredibly faithfully submit their accountability reports every week, which is a part of the EMP program, e-commerce master's program. And you're absolutely right, Brian. Extremely analytical, very process oriented. They've known each other for, I believe, 3, maybe even 4 years now. So they have also partnered up just like Kay and Sarah. So awesome to see that, Christy and Sharon's new partnership as well.
Yeah, these pictures are from our recent e-commerce funnel mastery in March in Dallas. And they're both working on their own businesses as well as their personalize your party.
So, Brian and Ann, I'm thinking about something right now as we're heading to the bottom of the hour. Someone saying, well, you know what? I don't have these opportunities. And we're going to give people an on ramp here in a little while. If they really want to step up and play a really big game, come to Colorado and all of that. And that'll be really, really great. But just, you talked about accountability, Brian, and all that. There is a baby step that you could take that we've just opened the door for, and that is our boot camp. You, regardless of who you are, how you're listening to this in any way, shape, or form, I don't know if anybody on the staff is there that could put that link in. You can join my boot camp that's starting on Monday, get the process going. And what made me think of this is Christy. She has taken the boot camp 5 times now, I think. Pretty sure 5. She's been through 5 boot camps. She came back the last time, just said, I need to get traction again. So, we just told her. And so if you're looking for, oh, this all sounds great, Ann and Brian, but what do I do? Or here is a step you can take. Quit feeling sorry for yourself and take that step, if nothing else today. So there you go. Brian, we're on to the slide of you were going to share the 6 tips of successful partnerships.
Great. So I talked about vision and purpose, and it's not so important that your vision and purpose aligns. They don't have to be exactly the same, but they do need to be compatible. And you do need to understand each other's vision and purpose. So when I think about Dr. Josie Shepard and myself, we both have different purposes for why we're trainers, why we collaborate in the way we do. I think we have a very similar vision about raising others up and about making it easier for people in business. That's why we're so strong on systems, having systems in your business. Number 2, identify your strengths and weaknesses. This is where you get to have each other's backs. When Josie and I create a training, we divide it up and we rely on each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I can go to her and say, hey, Josie, I need help here because I don't have the experience that you have, and vice versa. So identify those of each other's, and that leads you into each other's roles. So if you're creating a business, or like Josie and I are creating a training, we divide it up and we say, because of your strength, you're going to do this. And because of my strength, I'm going to do this over here, which leads us to creating a written work plan. You see, when we divide up those roles there, we write it down, we put it in writing, and then we say, when you're going to do this, we know for certain that each other is going to do this and that. We can rely on each other. It creates accountability. That's crucial. Be flexible, have tolerance for your different styles. I'm a morning person. I'm up at 5 every morning, and there's times in which I want to message Josie and say, hey, Josie, did you do this? Or, and I've got to remember that she's not that morning person, and I'm not going to reach her at that time. You've got to have tolerance for your different styles. Communicate regularly and transparently. This is kind of like a no-brainer. What team can survive without regular communication? But I also added the word transparently. You need to be able to speak your truth to each other. In this way, you could say, I'm not happy with this particular area, this particular part of our process. And can we look at that? Can we develop it? Because if you don't communicate transparently, there's things that never get discussed. And that leads to road bumps and eventually a failure of a partnership. So you've got to communicate regularly, transparently.
Awesome.
How's that?
Great tips.
I love it.
Great tips.
I love it.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom.
So, Brian, you shared examples, you gave some tips, and you shared some leadership stuff. And this is all really, really good stuff. People can take a baby step, jump into a boot camp. Maybe they know somebody. Hey, maybe I can take this, a couple friendships I have to the next level. But one common denominator through all that is a lot of this either got initiated or accentuated because of live events. And so the next slide I just put here, what makes a good partnership, the potential for that business camaraderie dramatically increases when you attend live events. And now, yeah, unashamedly, we're going to talk about the Ultimate Business Lifestyle as an opportunity to do that at a very, very high level. But events are important. In fact, Brian and Andy, you too met at an event, didn't you?
Yes, we did. It was through Josie. Josie had been in my training platform in 2012. Then she came into a subsequent webinar when I had shifted into e-commerce. There was Josie. And then she said, oh, Ann, hey, would like to take you around at ASD Market Week. And we had Erin there, who was another certified trainer at that time. She said, I want you to meet my friend Brian, whom she had been talking a lot about, her friend Brian. And I call her the Oracle, and she really is the Oracle. And she said, and he's going to be good, Ann. You put that finger out kind of in my face, like, listen here. And she was absolutely right. She's got all these other predictions that have come true. But yes, we met at ASD Market Week, and I quickly did an interview with Brian and broadcasted that to my audience. And before you know it, by that fall, Brian was training. One was on the toy category. I remember that. That was in the fall of 2014. Wow. So yes, that was through a live event. And I always gain value by showing up and meeting people face to face every single time. So we can't encourage it enough. And that's why we have so many events. That's really where the real community aspect fully comes into, purpose, if you will, that you really experience it. Now we're actually face to face, eyeball to eyeball. So, yeah.
So we're going to transition into talking much about the Ultimate Business Lifestyle Retreat coming up in August in just a couple of minutes. We have a really cool announcement to make first, so don't go yet. If you're used to Saturday Morning Live and you like this training, I just really appreciate Ann's training and Brian's training here on leadership and camaraderie and partnerships and all that. And so we are going to be talking about the Ultimate Business Lifestyle here in just a moment after our announcement. Our first Ultimate Business Lifestyle Mastermind was in San Diego. You see some pictures there. Beautiful event. Really had a nice time. And it was that we decided to take it to the next level. And that next year we went to Estes Park, and we'll be doing that again. The people that came, our key leaders there, just absolutely loved it. And we'll be back again in August, and in just a moment we're going to share the details on that if you want to stick around longer for a longer Saturday morning live edition today. But the meat of the training, we're done now. But here's the announcement before I let you go if you want to go. Ann, we've been wanting to do this for a long time, and we are going to launch something in Colorado, and I'm going to slide 22. I'll give you the honors.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I actually put together a local mastermind group here within E-commerce Business School. It was about 3 years ago. Sharon Irwin, who now works here within our staff, she was one of those rising stars that was really, she started training within her e-commerce master's program mastermind group. And then I pulled her in closer. And she has really been an advocate of the ambassador program by having been in that initial local mastermind group. And speaking of initiator, she went out into Sacramento and started to put out the good word of E-commerce Business School 3 years ago when there was not yet an official ambassador program in place. And I'm like, now there's a go-getter for you. So that was Sharon Irwin. I want to give her credit and kudos for that. So that was, I believe, in 2016. So it's now culminating and coming together. We are putting together our EBS ambassador program, and that will be unveiled in Estes Park in August at our Ultimate Business Lifestyle Mastermind Retreat. And so those in attendance will have the opportunity to join the founders group. We will be empowering and rewarding for the opportunity to share the vision of our school with others, including affiliate commissions. So many have wanted to refer others to our mentoring community, and we will be showing the material and the program in place to share with the founders group. So this is a big status. It's not going to be opened up to everybody to be an ambassador, to be an affiliate. We really want leaders who love the vision and who we are here at the E-commerce Business School to carry the banners, so to speak, and get the word of EBS out into their local communities. And that's what the curriculum around the ambassador program will be focused on, is spreading the word, the vision being in many local communities throughout the country because they need us. There is this massive growing shift into e-commerce. It is unabated. And we have a phenomenal mentorship program here, leadership program, and of course, a very strong training foundation programs, several of them, to take out into the marketplace. And so that will be a key component of our upcoming Ultimate Business Lifestyle Retreat.
Long time in coming, but boy, it's going to be fun. So hopefully you're going to have a desire to join us in Colorado in August. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But for now, Saturday Morning Live, I just want to thank all the visitors, everybody's watching this. Every Saturday morning, we want to bring you valuable training, encouragement, edification, news about the e-commerce industry, just on and on and on and on. So today we talked about leadership, scaling, and camaraderie. So if you are interested, though, we're segueing into part 2. If you jump off now, no problem, no offense. We're going to segue now and talk to you about, we didn't want to tease you with all that ultimate business lifestyle stuff and then not give you the understanding of what it is more thoroughly and how to join us if you want to. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. If you got to run, feel free. So thanks. So again, now into part 2, what dramatically increases leadership opportunity, leadership ability, camaraderie, peer groups, all of that is coming to live events. And so we're going to talk now about that. And I am on the slide where it says, Sieg, Coach Kurt, and Brian Cummings will be your trainers and mentors at our 3-day mastermind retreat. Talk about being a little bit different. Brian and I are a little bit different. we have a little bit different. But Brian, what amazes me is, you and I dove in 2 years ago and tackled this, and working with you was just fun and amazing. And we had a great time and a great retreat. And part of that is due to Ann. She knows how to handle really strong personalities. Not that either of us have that, but anyway.
I can knock heads together.
So anyway, Brian, if you want to reflect on that and where we're the retreat and all that, and we're going to show some slides here about what Colorado's all about.
I was just thinking back to camaraderie, Kurt, and how you and I have a shared vision and a shared purpose. And so we have very different styles and very different levels of experience. And when we bring that to the retreat and the training that we put on there, of course, we come from our different backgrounds. You get both of us there at this retreat. So Kurt was doing some experiential exercises out in the trust exercises, a blindfold exercise. I was leading people in a values exploration, personal values exploration. It was a heartfelt and moving experience for everybody there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Ann, I'm going to just go ahead and show some of these slides, and if you want to speak to, of course, I just love this picture of Lisa Celine and Sharon there. This is the inside, and then right outside that door, the door that's open behind Sharon, is the outside. If you want to speak a little bit about the setting, and then we'll go through some of the stories here.
Oh, the setting is spectacular. It's Colorado, and we're up at about, do you know what the elevation is?
I think it's
7,000?
60, yeah, right around 7,000, yep.
Okay. So we are up in the Rocky Mountains. That's Mike Farrell there right next to Brian on the right side. And Mike has been a leader in our community for several years. And he is from Colorado, and he actually hosted helped host our first Colorado event back in 2014 or 2015. But yes, and camaraderie amongst the staff there on the left with Sharon and Lisa. And of course, we train outside. Why be inside when we can be outside? So yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. By the way, weather-wise, it is warm during the day, like Sharon there is with the short sleeve. And then at night, yeah, you'll see, we actually had jackets on, hat and middies. That's just the fluctuation of the temp, but it's a lot of fun.
And here is Tim Coyle by the campfire and working with the group and on and on. He says, what a wonderful experience working on not just our business, but on a roadmap to achieving the life we want to create. Estes Park is a beautiful location. I encourage everyone to get there a day early and stay. And they do like to travel. Probably they scanned on the way there and scanned on the way home too. So, yep. So they're part of the e-commerce masters program, and here's Kathleen Cleary. Again, we did do some masterminding inside. What they're holding here is we sent them out to do a project, teamwork, camaraderie, strengths and weaknesses, all that kind of stuff. And they just had a lot of fun doing that. Also, skipping on down to the next slide is Sharon Safford, who we mentioned earlier. This is her husband, Terry. So glad I got to know him. Both of them attached to the military for many, many years, 35 years. Terry passed away shortly after this, but at that event, was so privileged to meet him. He said, Kurt, I have been in many events, training, seminars, for 35 years in different industries, including the military. This is by far the best thing I've ever done. And so I'm glad that, if nothing else for Sharon's sake, we had that opportunity to get to know him and impact each other's lives before he went on to the next chapter. Brian, do you want to talk about Carol and Scott? They're just such beautiful members of our community, too, and I just love their interaction on the retreat.
Carol and Scott, they've been in the community for quite some time. They have several businesses together. Carol is a CPA. In fact, she is our go-to CPA in the community. She supports many of the members here. I know some of the members use her as their CPA. Carol and Scott, they're really different, and they're so fun to watch together because of their differences. They're a married couple, of course, and like many married couples, when they have two opposites and opposites attract, they came and visited with my wife, Terry, and I. So that was even a special pleasure, not at our home, but in our motorhome, and spent time with us. So I have kind of a special affinity for both of them.
And then there's Don Cleaver, and he was just like a kid in the candy shop there in Colorado, wasn't he?
Yes, he was in my group where we did the blindfolding, as well as Terry. We were together in that group leading the blind. So, I don't remember, is that the trust exercise that one of you put together?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, that was a lot of fun. Donald, too, is from the military. He's a former Marine, and he's brought his daughter into the business now. And Donald is signed up and is showing again. Will be showing up at the retreat. He lives in Colorado, so it's convenient. But now he is building his second business with his daughter. So it's great to have Donald coming back again.
All right. So just some more shots there of the scenery in Colorado. Of course, Dr. Josie Shepard was there wrapped up in a blanket by the campfire and helped in some of the trainings and discussions. It's just, the atmosphere is just really, really beautiful. John's coming back again, John Ballbeck. And, I really appreciated what I hadn't seen in John before. That's part of the reason we do the retreat, is his innate leadership desires and giftings coming forth, to really and get up there and speak in front of a group. That's part of what leadership is about, is giving people in a safe environment the opportunity to step out and exercise some of their leadership skills that they might otherwise not discover or not walk in. And then, of course, here's Mike again. He's coming back, and I know he'd love to see everybody there. So the retreat, let's get into the pragmatics of it if you want to join this high level. And again, well, Kurt, I don't do e-commerce, this and that. You're finding this video, whatever. It's really about the person. Regardless of your business, you are welcome to step up your game and join us. And we'll show you how to do that in one way, shape, or form, and join even some of our business endeavors, business mentorship, incubators, and all that kind of stuff. And so it is going to be later in August 23rd, 24th, 25th. Brian is also going to do an e-commerce masters intensive. Won't go into a lot of that, but if you want to spend one extra day one-on-one with Brian and take a business from A to Z and get it flying, that would be a beautiful opportunity there in Colorado. So you're going to experience personal breakthroughs in the inner game of business. This is a shot of one of the inside lodges. Just business growth will be a natural outcome of this time that we will spend together working on you. And I'm on the slide. You shared 4 of your 21 tips. If you want to share a little bit about what you like and what you're going to be imparting and why you're looking forward to this, go ahead.
Yeah, leadership is one of my favorite things to teach and train on, and more so do lead. Why leadership is more important than ever. What is different about the new leadership model? And I'm creating a contrast to primarily to corporate America. And what does it look like with the new evolving entrepreneurs, for which that is a massively growing space, which is very exciting. And you folks are a part of that. Why entrepreneurship is one of the best ways to build leadership skills. We're going to talk about that and how to do that right then and there. A simple leadership formula to follow, the 21 keys to leadership success. I went through 4 of those today. action steps to jumpstart your leadership success and how to mastermind with like-minded people while we are there together. And actually, we have pre-event activities that we're going to be going through together as a group, heading into the ultimate business lifestyle, which is going to help just develop that friendship, with your peers that will be showing up in Colorado that much more, and help you get that much more value out of the event, because it's all predicated upon valued relationships. Your relationship, who you are and your leadership capabilities. And then, as it is known by sociologists and stated, you become like the 5 people you most closely associate with. That can be a scary thought, correct? You become like the 5 people closest to you that you associate with. That's who you become. So choose your friends wisely. This is your opportunity to do that through the ultimate business lifestyle.
Yeah. And Brian mentioned in his tips today about strengths and all of that. We're going to focus a little bit on strengths through the summer, so that we're even more prepared to really understand how can I develop these partnerships and this camaraderie that we talked about today. So it is an exclusive invitation. You do have to be one of the mentorship levels at the e-commerce business school to join us for those 3 days and 2 nights, but you can start from ground zero and go the whole distance, and we'll show you how to do that in a minute. Most of the people you've heard Ann and us mention today over and over again about the e-commerce masters program, most of the people that come to the retreat are in our e-commerce masters program. And so we have training, we have mentoring, we have community, we have leadership. And if you're interested at all about our e-commerce masters program, we're going to get a link to you and study. We're actually going to give you the opportunity to talk to a business advisor so that you can find out more about all this. The e-commerce masters program is where these peer groups that Brian and Ann and I mentioned today, where our students are put together in a group and the groups start to gel. We highlighted Candida's today. Her group is just gelling powerfully, and she's helping, as our others in that group, provide leadership to that. And then Ann's mentioned the TLC, that's the trainers, leaders, and coaches. I tease her about that. In fact, I think I might have come up with that acrostic because of her tender, loving care. She is like a mother hen to the e-commerce business school because she cares so much about what happens in her hen house, I guess you would call it. So anyway, and then we are initiating the e-commerce masters program super guide program, and that is peer camaraderie that Brian talked about. You're going to be linked up with that person that has more experience than you do, leading you through one-on-one accountability. And so I'm back now down to the summary slide, Ann, of the ovals. If you or Brian want to say anything more about the e-commerce masters program, and then we'll just go into the bullet points and let people know how they can link up with Sharon to find out about the retreat and EMP if they want to.
Well, Brian, you were in the e-com space. Well, you're a 10+ year Amazon seller, and you and Josie were both kind of alone adrift. And so maybe from having viewed the industry at large before coming here to the e-commerce business school and choosing to become a part of it, what do you see as different? Why, like, this level of comprehensiveness, does it even exist out there? You've been around 10+ years in this space.
No, this level of comprehensiveness does not exist out there, not to my knowledge. And I've been to a lot of events. So I'm an events goer. I know the value of going to events. I know the networking that you can pick up there, the tips, not only from trainers, but also just from the other people around there, the tips that propel you forward in your business, that one little thing that you learn that makes that huge difference in your business. But that's great when you go to events. When you're at the e-commerce business school, everything's there. The foundation is built. So we have members that come in here that know nothing about e-commerce at all, and they can build on it step by step by step by step. And then they get all of the support calls and what we call check and adjust calls that exist in the e-commerce masters program, weekly, daily calls. They get to talk to a trainer, ask questions, the accountability reports, I could just go on and on about this. I have never seen that any place else, and I've been around in lots of communities online.
Awesome. Thank you. For myself, I created this to suit someone like me. I like to be mentored. I need to be coached. I need a solid training foundation to work off of and from. I am a very community oriented kind of person. I have a very firm belief that the go it alone kind of entrepreneur is does not is not a healthy way to be an entrepreneur, especially in the 21st century. You can't make it on your own because things change so quickly. That's the main reason. And you need that peer group of trusted friendships. So that's why we have the community aspect. And I would be remiss not to have the leadership aspect because I had run a sports gym previously and I groomed up my own gymnast. I had done it for 15 years. The little gymnast that I had trained and taught for many years grew up to be then my coaches and trainers. So likewise here in the e-commerce master's program, we groom up leaders. Candida, major rising star and leader, and within her own group is now budding and populating, and they're co-training each other and on through the entire e-commerce master's program. So if you want to go to the next slide, Kurt, and I'll just give a quick synopsis of everything that you receive. Within the e-commerce master's program, you get a customized and personal roadmap and follow-up guidance. You have that super guide that we now have integrated. Our complete e-commerce training course stack. It is extremely comprehensive. Your access to experts every day of the week. That's check and adjust group coaching calls Monday through Friday through a variety of trainers. A peer mastermind and accountability group. Very, very powerful. You can't make it in business without having that mastermind group or not progress as fast and as far. Weekly business progress reviews. I actually do those every week. That's a video review. Access to all our live events, print on demand weekly mastermind and training by Brian. Your super guide. That's a brand new edition. And that's because we want you to be guided through the process and not be alone. And then there's the optional TLC group, which is for professional development and certification. We've had that in place since 2012. So this wasn't built yesterday. This is a 7-year program that we've had. So you can go to ecommercemastersprogram.com to learn more, but we'll get into back into UBL, like Kurt said. The next slide there. Well, why don't you go ahead, Kurt, and talk about the rest there.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up, guys, and give you the on-ramp to find out more. Join us if you want. The tickets for the exclusive 3-day mastermind is all-inclusive. It's 6 meals, Friday dinner through Sunday lunch. It's 2 nights, double occupancy. You can get a private room if you want. All training sessions, everything is included. As Ann mentioned before, we do have some pre-event training and preparation to do. One is going to be a one-on-one roadmap consultation, and the other is going to be strength finder group coaching through the summer before we get to Colorado. The roadmap is a document that Brian and I created so that you actually have a business type plan so that you know where you're at and where you want to go and the things that need to happen for you to get there. Ann and I have taught on Strengths Finder stuff for a very long time. In fact, Ann and I led our whole staff through Strengths Finder, so we really understood and would appreciate the strengths of each of our staff members. So that's what it is all about, and it truly is really this beautiful. I lived in Colorado at the Air Force Academy. Is it really that? If you've never been to Colorado, oh man, just come and look at the mountains. I mean, it's awesome. And so we're just really would love to have you there. We'll consider it an honor to help you along the way. So you must be in one of our levels to be eligible to come to the Ultimate Business Lifestyle Retreat. That's either the e-commerce master's program, that's where most people are, or e-commerce acceleration, or the print on demand profit system. So if you are interested in attending, you can. This link is in the post here. Just click on that and talk to Sharon and say, yeah, I want to come to UBL. How do I get there? And all of that. So looking forward to it so much. I can't wait. Really looking forward to this event in Colorado. So Brian, Ann, I think that's a wrap, and give you guys the last word here before we say goodbye.
I have a word to say. Half the seats are filled. What we did is we rolled this out this past Tuesday to the 3 membership levels that can gain access to UBL, Ultimate Business Lifestyle. So if you want to be a part of this growth, and remember there is the rollout of the brand new ambassador program will happen at the event, and you will be considered a founder. For those who want to be a part of the ambassador program, that will be rolled out in Estes Park. So You'll need to meet with Sharon because you would need to be at one of those 3 levels that Coach Kurt just mentioned. But hey, you know what? I know that there are people listening right now. There are some who they have that leadership aspect in them, or they're realizing, no, I don't have it and I really want it. It's making sense. It's adding up to you that you're realizing business is not just a bunch of tactics looped together and strategies looped together. There's a little bit more than tactics and strategies. They are important, but most of the game is won up in here, between your head or in your head, with your leadership capabilities. And that is really the sole purpose of UBL, is to help and develop and strengthen you as an entrepreneur. Over to you, Brian.
Our workshops, our live events consistently get high marks, consistently. And we're talking 9s and 10s on our forms that we ask people to fill out afterwards. So any event that you come to that we put on, you're going to love. But this is the event that you're really going to feel. You'll be glad that you came. Just trust me.
All right.
Yeah, well said.
Okay. Well, if you connect here with Sharon, tell them Ann, Brian, and Kurt sent you on Saturday morning live, and we'll look forward to just being with you there. Really, and you can start from A to Z. The one thing cool about this that we didn't have last time is the intensive right with it. And so you could start from ground zero. You might be floating out there. You have leadership skills. You want to get a business going. One weekend, you can go from A to Z, become an ambassador, have a business running, and run with a pack that'll power you and serve you all in that one weekend. We can make it happen for you. And so thanks, everybody. Saturday morning live. We're done. Make it a great weekend. Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, Brian. Bye, Kurt.